Let's get right into it. Number 10. The city that shouldn't be there. Picture this. You're flying over the Sahara Desert, endless dunes, not a drop of water in sight, and suddenly your pilot goes, "Wait, is that a city?" Because under that sand lies Herma, a lost civilization so old it makes the Egyptians look like latecomers to the party. Satellite scans have shown that beneath the dunes are outlines of walls, streets, and maybe even pyramids older than the pyramids. Scientists call it a possible pre-Nile culture, which is academic code for, we have no idea who these people were, but they clearly had Wi-Fi before we did. The strangest part? The region was once lush, lakes, forests, animals, the whole package. Then, around 6,000 years ago, climate change turned the place into a literal oven. The people of Herma supposedly adapted, some migrated toward the Nile, while others vanished like a bad Tinder date. What's left are ruins buried so deep that ground-penetrating radar picks up weird geometric shapes, symmetrical, massive, and precisely aligned with constellations. Because of course they are. Ancient people loved their space decor. Archaeologists are torn. Was this an early cradle of civilization before Egypt, or just a desert mirage with great PR? Either way, it means the Sahara wasn't empty. It was hiding a civilization that should not have existed there. And if you're wondering how they built stone structures in 120-degree heat without water or Home Depot, join the club. Number 9. The Pyramids of Caral, the city that time forgot. If you thought the Inca were the OG South American empire, think again. Meet Caral, a sprawling metropolis in Peru that existed around 5,000 years ago, roughly when Egypt was still learning how to pyramid properly. Caral had everything: plazas, temples, musical instruments, irrigation systems, basically prehistoric Peru's version of Coachella. The people didn't even use warfare to maintain control. They ran on trade, art, and apparently good vibes only. What makes Caral mind-melting is its age. It predates the Mayans, the Aztecs, and maybe even written language in the Americas. How do you just skip all the awkward evolutionary steps, no stone axes, no small villages, and jump straight to, hey, let's build a civilization? That's like skipping kindergarten and enrolling directly into grad school. Scientists still don't know where the Caral people came from or why they were so chill compared to every other early civilization that was constantly stabbing each other for territory, and then, poof. Around 2000 BCE, the city was abandoned. No signs of war, no disease, just empty. Maybe they ascended to a higher plane, or maybe, like most group projects, everyone just got tired and stopped showing up. Number 8. The builders of Nan Madol, the Pacific's stone metropolis. Imagine an ancient Venice, but built entirely from basalt blocks weighing up to 50 tons each, stacked like Lego by people with zero modern technology. Welcome to Nan Madol, the city of the dead, floating off the coast of Micronesia. It's made up of 100 tiny artificial islands connected by canals, built sometime between 1200 and 1500 CE. But here's the catch. Nobody knows how the stones got there. There are no quarries on the island, no ramps, no pulleys, no cranes, just coral reefs and ocean. And yet somehow, these people built a city on water using volcanic rock heavier than your entire high school. Local legends claim the builders had magical powers. Specifically, they could levitate stones with chance. You laugh. But when scientists can't explain something, that theory starts to sound less crazy. Even European explorers were freaked out by the place, calling it the Venice of the Pacific. Except this Venice was haunted. The locals refused to go near it after dark, believing the spirits of its rulers still guarded it. Today, the city still stands, eerily intact, like some ancient ghost metropolis no one ordered. Archaeologists still can't figure out why it was built on the ocean in the first place, unless someone back then thought beachfront property was worth dying for. Number 7. The Indus Valley Civilization, the people who ghosted history. Now imagine an entire civilization that was more advanced than ancient Egypt, and then collectively disappeared without leaving a single king, war, or scandal behind. That's the Indus Valley Civilization, basically the quiet kid in history class who secretly had a genius-level IQ. They had gridded cities, indoor plumbing, sanitation systems, and even air cooling structures 4,000 years ago. Meanwhile, Europe was still figuring out how to make a decent spear. Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro were so well organized it looked like an urban planner from the future visited. Their houses had bathrooms connected to a citywide drainage system, and they even standardized brick sizes, which, for ancient humans, is basically the equivalent of ISO certification. But here's the kicker. No palaces, no temples, no evidence of war. It's as if they collectively decided to be functional adults. Then one day they just stopped. Climate change? River shifts? Aliens who forgot to renew the lease? No one knows. And the biggest mystery? Their written language remains undeciphered. Archaeologists have been staring at little seal symbols for over a century, trying to figure out if it says, "Glory to our gods," or "Do not flush foreign objects." Basically, the Indus people were living in a Bronze Age utopia until history hit Ctrl+Alt+Delete. Number 6. Göbekli Tepe, the temple that shouldn't exist. Here's where it gets truly weird. Göbekli Tepe, in modern-day Turkey, is 12,000 years old. Older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids, older than civilization itself. Archaeologists found gigantic stone pillars arranged in perfect circles, carved with intricate animal reliefs, lions, snakes, vultures, and dated it to 10,000 BCE. You know, when humans were supposed to be simple hunter-gatherers. Except, hunter-gatherers don't build temples the size of apartment buildings. They build campfires and hope the mammoths don't step on them. So how did people with no agriculture, no metal tools, and no wheel suddenly decide to build the world's first monument? The answer? Nobody knows. It's as if the blueprint for civilization showed up way too early. Like the tutorial level of humanity accidentally unlocked expert mode. Even weirder, once they finished building it, they buried it. Intentionally. Why? Maybe it was a ritual. Maybe something went wrong. Or maybe, just maybe, they knew future archaeologists would lose their minds over it. Whatever the case, Göbekli Tepe rewrote history. Because according to textbooks, religion and cities came after farming, not before. But this site suggests that spirituality may have built civilization, not the other way around. Basically, this place is like finding an iPhone in a dinosaur fossil. Number 5. The Yonaguni Monument, Japan's underwater enigma. Imagine scuba diving off the coast of Japan and suddenly realizing you're staring at a city. Not coral, not rock, but a full-blown underwater architectural complex. Terraces, steps, platforms, and what looks suspiciously like a pyramid. That's the Yonaguni Monument, a 10,000-year-old mystery that's been giving archaeologists migraines for decades. Some say it's natural rock erosion. Others insist it's the remains of a prehistoric city lost to the sea, possibly from before the last ice age. The structures are so geometric it's hard not to think Atlantis, but make it Japanese. There are straight walls, sharp corners, stairways, and even what appears to be carvings. You know, the kind of things nature doesn't usually do unless it has an architecture degree. If the monument really is man-made, that means humans in 8,000 BCE were quarrying, cutting, and shaping massive stones underwater, before the invention of writing, agriculture, or Netflix. Mainstream scientists don't like this idea, of course, because it makes history look like a messy group chat full of typos. But local legends tell of an ancient kingdom swallowed by the ocean, eerily similar to other flood myths around the world. So maybe the Yonaguni Monument is proof that our ancestors were building complex societies while we thought they were still just chasing mammoths. Or maybe it's just Mother Nature flexing her design skills. Either way, it's one of those places that makes you realize we really have no idea how far back civilization goes. Number 4. The Olmecs, the people who invented civilization. Twice before the Mayans started carving calendars and the Aztecs began sacrificing interns to the sun, there were the Olmecs, the mysterious mother culture of Mesoamerica. They appeared around 1500 BCE, built giant stone heads weighing up to 40 tons each, invented writing, and possibly even created the first ball games. So basically, they were the original influencers of ancient America. But here's the wild part. No one knows where they came from. Their art shows faces that don't match the local population, broad-nosed, round-faced, and weirdly global. Some conspiracy theorists think they were travelers from across the ocean, which, yes, sounds like Reddit at 3 a.m., but also, maybe not? The Olmecs built cities with complex drainage systems, pyramids, and ceremonial centers, long before anyone else in the region was doing that. It's as if they just popped into existence one day with a full civilization starter pack. And when they vanished, around 400 BCE, they didn't just disappear, they handed off their culture. The Mayans, Zapotecs, and Aztecs all inherited Olmec symbols, architecture, and gods. It's like the Olmecs were the beta version of every Mesoamerican civilization that followed. No written records survive except a few cryptic glyphs, so we're left piecing together their story from massive stone heads that look suspiciously judgmental, as if they're silently saying, "You still don't get it, do you?" Number 3. The Tartessians, Europe's Atlantis deep in southern Spain. Archaeologists found the remains of a civilization that lived like kings, mined gold, and vanished so suddenly that Plato might have written fan fiction about them. They were called the Tartessians, and they flourished around 1200 BCE, trading with Phoenicians, building monumental temples, and amassing insane wealth from silver and copper mines. Basically, the Elon Musks of the Bronze Age. Greek writers described Tartessos as a glittering city beyond the Pillars of Hercules, today's Strait of Gibraltar, ruled by a wise king named Arganthonios, who apparently lived over 100 years. Because ancient mythology had no concept of a normal lifespan. Then, around 500 BCE, everything stopped. Their cities vanished. Their language disappeared. Their name turned into legend. Some historians believe Tartessos was destroyed by a massive tsunami. Others think it was the real inspiration for Atlantis. Either way, they left behind a civilization advanced enough to baffle even modern researchers, with strange inscriptions that still haven't been translated. And if you visit southern Spain today, you can still find golden relics buried in mud, whispering from a world that was rich, powerful, and then just gone. Like an empire that rage-quit history. Number 2. The builders of Pumapunku, the alien engineers. Probably not, but still. In Bolivia, high in the Andes Mountains, sits Pumapunku, a place that looks less like an ancient ruin and more like the aftermath of a stone-cutting competition judged by robots. We're talking perfectly interlocking blocks made of andesite, one of the hardest stones on Earth. Each block is shaped with machine-level precision, smooth surfaces, sharp right angles, drilled holes that seem impossible with Bronze Age tools. Archaeologists say the site dates back to around 500 CE, but some structures might be thousands of years older. The mystery isn't just how they built it, it's why they built it with such perfection. The stones fit together so tightly that you can't slide a piece of paper between them. It's as if they were cast in molds, except we're talking about 100-ton rocks. Mainstream science says the builders used stone hammers and ropes, which is like saying someone carved a Tesla using only a butter knife. Then there's the alignment. Pumapunku lines up with the stars and solstices, just like ancient Egyptian temples, except these people were working at 12,000 feet above sea level. It's one of those places where your brain goes, okay, either ancient humans were way smarter than we give them credit for, or someone's been editing the timeline. Even if it wasn't aliens, and it probably wasn't, Pumapunku proves that humans thousands of years ago had knowledge, engineering, geometry, maybe even lost technology that we're still trying to reverse engineer today. Basically, it's the world's oldest unsolved DIY project. Number 1. Atlantis, the civilization that refuses to die. Let's be real, no list of forgotten civilizations would be complete without Atlantis, the myth that refuses to sink. Plato first wrote about it 2,400 years ago. A glorious island nation beyond the Pillars of Hercules, blessed by gods, advanced in technology, and destroyed in a single day and night. Ever since, people have been playing hide-and-seek with it, pointing to Greece, the Caribbean, Antarctica, the Sahara, and even Mars. Here's the thing. Atlantis might not be just one place. Many real civilizations fit the story. The Tartessians, the Minoans, even the people of Göbekli Tepe. Every continent has its own version of a great flood wiping out an advanced culture. Maybe Atlantis isn't a place, but a memory. Humanity's collective PTSD from the end of the last ice age, when melting glaciers drowned coastlines and erased entire societies. Or maybe, just maybe, there really was an ancient civilization so advanced that history couldn't handle it. So it buried it under myth to keep us from losing our minds. Either way, the idea of Atlantis endures because it represents our biggest fear and our greatest hope, that we're not the first ones to climb this ladder of civilization, and that maybe, just maybe, we won't be the last to fall from it. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.